Alright, so we're in the genetics unit and we're trying to solve a variety of genetics problems. We've already gone through one trait crosses, now we're doing two trait crosses. And so to kind of give you a little bit of help, I'm going to do an example here from this handout here called dihybrid crosses. Now specifically, the one that I'm going to look at is question 8b right here. So let's read through the question and then we'll start to solve it. It says, in mice, the ability to run normally, is a dominant trait. Mice with this trait are called running mice. We're going to use a capital R since it's dominant. The recessive trait causes mice to run in circles. Mice with this trait are called waltzing mice, and that is lowercase r because waltzing is recessive. Black hair is dominant, so we're going to use a big B over brown hair, which is recessive, and so we're going to use a lowercase b. And you're told that cross a homozygous black mouse with a heterozygous running brown mouse. What are the expected phenotypic and genotypic ratios? Okay, so we're going to go over here and we're going to do the genotype of the first parent. This is where you start. You always start with this. So homozygous running. So running is dominant. You can see that right here, big R. So if it's homozygous, that means same. So I'm going to go big R, big R. And you're also told that's homozygous black. And again, black hair is dominant, so we're going to go big B, big B. Again, because it's homozygous, means same. So both letters are going to be identical to one another. And then we're going to cross that with the other parent who is heterozygous running. So if they're running, they have a capital R. And of course, heterozygous means a big with a small. So big R, little r, and a brown mouse. So you notice that brown hair is recessive over here. So to be brown, you have to have two little b's. Then what you do, we can kind of skip away, make this larger here now, get away from the handout. And so what we use is 2 to the n, right? So let's just use a different color. So again, n is the number of heterozygous genes that are found in the genotype. So this is homozygous. This is homozygous, so our n is going to be 0. There's only one possible gamete that we're going to get from there. And then if we do 2 to the n here, the only heterozygous gene that's here is the r's. So there's one heterozygous gene, n equals 1. 2 to the 1 gives me 2 possibilities. So that tells me now that the size of my Punnett square is going to be 2 by 1. So I can just draw my Punnett square that size. So here I go. Draw my Punnett square 2 by 1. And I can take now the genes of the first parent right here. Actually, I'm going to use black. And again, what's the only possibility? It's big R, big B. Remember, the gamete, whether it's sperm or egg, whatever it might be, requires one allele from each of the gene sets, right? So we need one R and one B. And so since there's no recessive traits here or recessive alleles at all, it has to be capital R, capital B. Let's use blue for the other parent. So again, we need an R and a B in every single gamete. So let's just look at the different combinations of R's and B's. So we've got a big R, little b. What's the other possibility? Little r, little b. I can't be writing big R, little r here and little b, because that means that this gamete here, if it was big R, little r, is missing B information. That's no good. And if this was little b over here, that would be a gamete that's missing R information, and that's no good either. Now all you have to do is drop the information in. So we got a big R and a big B, and a big R and a big B from the first parent, and then we have a big R, little b from the second parent, and a little r, little b as well. Okay, and so you're asked now what's the genotypic and phenotypic ratio. So the genotypic ratio is going to be 1 big R, big B, little b, to 1 big R, big B, little b, 1 to 1. What is the phenotypic ratio? So this is what these organisms will look like, or the children will look like. And I need to erase that there. That should be a P. PR. And so what's the appearance of this organism here? So we have 1, and if we go back to the question here, you'll notice again that running is dominant and black is dominant. So we have to use that to interpret the information. So this individual here is running because it has a dominant trait. Apologize for my writing here. And it has a big B, so it's running black. This individual here, again, has a capital R. It also is running, and it also has a capital B. So we actually have 2 to 0 running black, or the best way to probably express that is 100% running black. Okay, so hopefully that helps.